there, it's Vicky from Rasadeva, and today I would like to show you how to choose flower essences with a pendulum. So if you are a flower essence practitioner, or if you are in my class to become a flower essence practitioner, having a pendulum to assist you in choosing essences can be very, very, very helpful. So what I've done is I have consulted with my client, and I have reviewed her issues, and I have selected about 7 essences here. And I'm not quite sure if all of them belong in her mixture for this month, and I would like a little extra help with that. So I'm going to use a pendulum to see what extra guidance I can get about this, and kind of, shape up my final answer and my final blend for this client. So I have some here that I know she really needs because I've based it on her flower personality type, and I hear from her conversation with me that she's still struggling with a few issues that are very embedded in her patterning. So those few here, I have these 3 that I know she really, really can use. And then this one came up, and I think it will be a really great one to help her stay balanced. And that's a great one too. It's basically these 2 here. Now, we don't need to, this lesson isn't about which flower essences I'm choosing for this client. It is, how do I narrow it down? Because as you know from your lessons, having too many flower essences in one dosage bottle is like taking too many colors from your palette and making a muddy brown. Your body and your energy field doesn't really know what to do with a muddy brown, too overloaded flower essence. So you don't want to put too many in. I usually say around 5 to 6. So I really do have 5 solid ones here for her, but I'm thinking that one of these other 2 might be really, really great. And incidentally, these 2 are really great for her flower personality type as well. But again, I don't want to overload it. So I'm going to grab my trusty pendulum, and if you've seen my previous video on how to use a pendulum, it's very, very simple. Practice makes perfect. So grab your pendulum, and I'm just going to isolate this one flower essence here. And I am going to use my pendulum to give me a yes or no answer. So first I want to ask my pendulum, show me a yes. So very quickly that pendulum started turning clockwise, so that's my yes. And please show me a no. And we've got a back and forth motion for a no. Okay, so now I'm simply going to hold the tip of my pendulum right over what I want to investigate. So whether that's a flower essence or essential oil, whether it's a crystal that you should meditate with, whether it's a supplement that you do or don't need on any given day, you can really use your pendulum to give you a nice yes or no answer about what your body or what your client's body needs right now. So let's ask. All right, so for the greatest and highest good of my client, is this an appropriate essence for this current blend? And I'm getting a back and forth. And so to me, that indicates a no at this time. So I'm gonna set that aside, and let's douse that other one. So let's get it kind of still, and I'm going to just hold it over this particular flower essence, and I'm going to ask for the greatest and highest good of this client. Do they need this flower essence at this time? Okay, I think I'm getting a back and forth. That might also be a no. let's check out the ones that I think are really, really good for her and see if the pendulum agrees. So here's one. I know she said that she really was in need of herself. She is aware of it. So I'm going to ask the pendulum, is this a good flower essence for this client at this time? And I hope you can see that it is a clockwise yes, and a pretty strong one at that. It's really kind of whipping around here. I hope you all can see the movement of this. It may look like it was going back and forth a little bit, but actually in the first part of it there, it had a really strong yes. So there's that one. This one, let's see if this one's appropriate. Is this flower essence for the greatest and highest good of my client at this time? Should I put it in her flower essence blend? Is it what's needed for her at this time? And I'm getting a smaller but definite clockwise circle. So that is also a yes. All right. I'm going to go for this one because I have a feeling she might say, if I said, oh, you might need this one, she might go, oh, I'm over that. But let's see if I'm assessing it correctly. There's still a little bit of this left for her to work with, more than a little probably. So let's see, is this for my client's greatest and highest good at this time? And I'm simply thinking of her name quietly. Her file is sitting right beside me, so the universe knows what I'm working on here. And that one is a very nice, large, circular motion. That's a yes. All right. All right. So that's a really, really good tool to use, and I encourage you to not just use a pendulum, because if you take a look at my little box full of flower essences here, I have like 100. So you can't just sit here and use your pendulum to get yes, no answers and trust it blindly and then put that in there. You really have to, create your flower essence in a very artful way, a very thoughtful way, in a way that is going to be supportive and productive for your client. And so limit them to about 5 or 6. Think about them, think about their flower personality type, and think about what's going on in their life. And then maybe for your final answer for a couple of them, you can use your pendulum, but don't depend on this for anything, really. This is just a little extra information, a little extra confirmation or not. So it's not the end all be all of everything. This pendulum doesn't have magic powers. Again, it's just a conduit for information and gives us really great information on yes or no answers. So I encourage you to practice your yes or no answers and practice dowsing different formulas or different, if you need to make a choice between two things. Even like what movie should we watch tonight? My husband and I are always, which movie do you want to watch? So you could use a pendulum to say, yeah, tonight this is the one, and then you don't have to decide. It's up to the universe to tell you what movie to watch or what dessert to choose or whatever. So have fun with it, gather really good information and make good choices, and be well. Until next time, I'm Vicki from Rasa Deva.